Hey, everybody. Thank you for hopping on our podcast today. I was going to say an hour call, but it is a call, podcast call. Today, I wanted to introduce you to one of my favorite people, Anna.
Oh,
You're like, surprised. You should be surprised. I tell you this all the time.
yeah, that's true.
Right? And I would love for you to share with everyone who you are.
Whew. We are starting with the hardest question. So hey everyone. I'm so happy to be with you in today's call and talk. Um, who I am. Oh, um, like everyone, I would say I'm someone with a lot of, um, let's say, roles, and someone who has a lot of things within myself. I would say I'll start with the fact that I'm a coach, and I'm a leadership coach working with managers and executives. And this is something that I found out, like with the coaching, I found out how much it feels like a life purpose for me. That's why I wanted to start with saying that I'm a coach. I'm also a sister. I have siblings, brother and a sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a friend. Uh, I'm a coachee to my coach. Um, so, like many of us and everyone, basically, like everyone, I have a lot of roles in my life. Um, but if I think about like who I am at the core, the things that come to my mind is a kind person and someone who lives life with purpose and um, who wants to leave a legacy.
Mhm. I love that. And you know me, I like to start with the hardest questions, like who are you? Because most people don't fully know who they are. And here's the other little secret that some people might not recognize is that the who continues to change and it continues to
Yes,
grow.
that's true.
Yeah, as we
It
grow.
continues to grow uh, from who we are, for what we do. That's true. It does. And it's interesting that we all start. I also started this way. Like when you ask the question, when we are asked this question, "Who are you?" We usually define ourselves based on our work, based on our family, based on our nationality. I'm a Bulgarian. I came to Canada from Bulgaria. So these are the things that we usually say, and we rarely go deeper to who we really are, like the kind of a person we really are.
Mhm.
And yes, this changes with our experiences in life. As we grow and learn, the who changes. We develop different who's and choose which one to have.
Yeah, I have another deep question that keeps replaying in my mind. What is your deepest fear?
Ooh, my deepest fear. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if I've thought about deepest fear. Like a lot of people, I have fears.
Mhm.
Um, I have fears of rejection, especially with the business and reaching out to people, like hearing no, um, fears of failure and what people would say in a sense, like being judged.
Mhm.
Um, fears of the unknown, I would say as well. Like generally, there is this fear of the unknown. Whether it's sometimes when I get up during the night, it's like when it's dark and it's like what's out there. Um, the future, which holds the unknown as well. So this is, I would say, this is the like the underlying one is the unknown.
Mhm.
Although when you think about it, knowing everything would remove the fun out of life. Like if would I be doing the things I'm doing and experiencing life if I knew everything? So um, I like the unknown. I like not knowing how things will like go on and what will happen. But at the same time, I guess the deepest one is the unknown. Like what the future holds. Like uh, how will someone react when I do this? Uh, the dark is probably like it's not really too much of a thing, but sometimes it happens. Especially with the holidays, like with the Christmas tree we had. One night I saw it, and like I'm kind of asleep, and I'm like, "What's this in the living room?" And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's the Christmas tree."
Yeah, you have
uh,
it all year round. You have it seasonally, and
yeah, it is. So the unknown, and it goes not only for like just what I do every day. When you think about it, for the fears we have, like just naturally as people, the biggest fear with death is the unknown. We don't know what happens. So this is something that um, it's I feel like it's an underlying thing with just not knowing, because I feel like when I know, uh, it's easy. It's things work so well when I um, know, and when I feel confident as well. It's like when I feel relaxed and kind of um, not being afraid of the outcome.
yeah,
It helps a lot. Very interesting question.
yeah. And your answer, honestly, I would imagine everybody would agree that everyone has these fears. These fears are staple of the human condition. Like everyone has these fears of the unknown, right? Um, as we are growing up as children, we might not be aware of all these fears because we're just we're being right. We are in the moment and we are being. Time does not really register the way that it does with us as adults. So there's fears of time as well.
Yeah, like I know. Uh,
So and here's the interesting, not a question, but more like a statement. It would actually no, it's going to be a question. Would you and I have a job if such thing as fear existed, or sorry, didn't exist?
yes, I will say yes for sure, uh, because coaching it's not just about fears. It even if fear is not there, it's still getting out of the box in a way, like helping people get out of their own boxes. And there are people who, it's not like they don't have fears. We all have fears. It's natural, like it's human nature. But let's say that their fears are not impacting them, and they're not that powerful. But these are still people who can be in their own head and in their own box. And coaching is something that helps them get out of it, see so many different perspectives and so many new ways of being and doing things. So I say yes. Even if there was no fear, people still need coaching.
Mm-hmm. It's all coaching is not just overcoming fears. That's what I hear you say. Coaching is about becoming the a better version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, with whatever goals, dreams you are wanting to achieve. Right?
Yeah.
If a person just likes to play video games all the time, and that's all they want to do, they don't particularly need a coach because they're good where they are. They don't want to change. Coaching is for people that want a little bit more out of life
Yeah.
or a lot more
Oh yeah.
of life.
Absolutely. Like there are people who are I guess, content with where they are. And like you said, they might not realize that coaching is something that will help them. And it's definitely about helping people become better, whether it's by just a little bit or like leaps and bounds. It is different for different people, but it's making it from good to best.
Mhm.
So, absolutely. That's why I definitely, even without fear, coaching is something that helps people. Even people who are not afraid uh, can benefit from having a coach and the working towards expanding their world and expanding who they are.
Mhm. Now I'm curious, what got you into, or what intrigued you into becoming a coach?
I, this one is probably something else, which will resonate with a lot of people, especially coaches. Um, it's about fulfillment. So the work that, like the full-time job I started with, I got it. Uh, I got it out of university. So I graduated my undergrad degree in information systems, and I started working at a software company, let's say. Like it provides services for like working with data, databases, things like this, reporting for different things. And I started working with a financial institution here in Canada. Um, and even in the beginning of my career, I was like, is this it? I'm starting, like I was just a couple of months into it, and like, so I'm supposed to do this for 40 years, like so I actually had thoughts at that time. I actually had thoughts of becoming an au pair, quitting my job and going to Denmark to become an au pair, but I got persuaded to not do this. And then I thought at some point, like I was thinking, you know what, with background in IT and being able to communicate well with all kinds of people, I should get like I wanted to become a chief information officer at a corporation or something. So I thought I wanted to get a business degree. So went for my MBA here in Canada at Rotman, University of Toronto. Uh, and continued with my working for the financial institution, but didn't really feel fulfilled. I didn't feel like I was making a difference. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, what's the purpose of this? How am I helping the world? And are the people I work with happy? Yes, they are. It's a contribution, that's true, but deep inside me it didn't feel like it was enough.
Mhm.
So I started looking for things I can do on the side. Like I've kind of always wanted to do something on the side, and I was looking at certain things, and I found I Google. I think it was Googling. Just I Googled stuff, and then I found coaching, and it intrigued me because it said that like some of the things that coaches do well is listen, and I've always been a good listener. As an introvert myself, I don't speak a lot. I rather listen. So this was like one of the things. Then they were saying about the non-judgmental part. And I read a book written by a coach who she had graduated IPAC, and it was like a short book about coaching, and I really liked it. I'm like, oh wow, I can do so well with this. And uh, if I work even with like one person at a time, the impact this can have, and how it can help one person, like just one person. But then when I think about it, this one person is not one person. They have a family, they have their work environment, they have their friends. um, so I felt like this is something I'll be good at, and this is something that will bring me this sense of fulfillment and this sense of purpose, where I actually see the value I bring to the world. And it's not for a corporation or anything. It's something that felt um, like it had a higher purpose for me. And I'm like, you know what? Let me jump into this. I called IPAC, got the interview. Like through the interview, she said, "Pay like that it was okay if I wanted to continue, just like um, submit the first payment and like let me do it." So I got into IPAC, which is like the best program there is for coaching. It was such an amazing experience, and going through the program, which lasted 9 months, with work every single week. We had things to do, and the webinars and homeworks and the coaching we did with like our peers, and everything was so amazing and so transformational. And it made me believe even more that this is what I wanted to do. And like, who am I to not do it? Did I have my doubts? Of course.
Mhm.
I've done things, I've achieved things, but uh, coaching is something completely new and something completely different from like IT and the world I was coming from. So um, I did have my fears, but at the same time, I felt like, yes, this is it. Especially after the second module we had, it was so empowering. Like one of the days, as I was getting back home in the evening, I felt like I can conquer the world. It was such an amazing feeling. And this is what got me to the coaching. It's something that's a little bit selfish when I think about it because of my personal fulfillment. But at the same time, I see it as a way of sharing all my gifts with the world. And in my IT job, I'm very restricted. Uh, with coaching, I can give my all. I can share all my gifts and what I have with the world. And I do believe that the world needs me. So,
Yeah, I believe that the world does need you. I need you.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I need you too.
Honestly, I will 100% agree with you when it comes to IPAC. Prior to IPAC, I myself, I think I might have told you. If not, this will be the first time you hear it. I took another coaching program prior to IPAC.
Mhm.
It was I started with IPAC in November, and the winter before that, that's when I took the
Mhm.
coaching program, and it was absolutely nothing like IPAC. It was just all written, and you do everything on your own. There was no hands-on, there was no practice. Whereas with IPAC, the second module, I would also agree that it was one of the most powerful modules. The first one was too, because my husband came with me. Very powerful. It's like him being part of my world, just at least for a little bit, and understand just a
Yeah.
tiny bit of my world. He learned tremendous amount of information, which has also shifted our relationship. But the second module I remember was a life changing, because we got a lot of hands-on practice. To me, the
Yeah.
most impactful one was that really allowed me to break through one of my fears, and I still don't fully understand what that fear was, but the the fishbowl exercise when
Oh, yes.
so I'll tell everyone what the fishbowl exercise is. So you have one client. So the whole entire class, we had 11 students, and the class will be divided into two groups now, and each group, and they're in separate rooms, can't hear anyone, right, completely separate. One client comes up with a topic that they want to discuss in the session, right? And the rest, and there was I think seven, no, not seven. I can't remember how many, but four or five. My mouth.
Four.
Yeah, but there was this one group was bigger than the other by one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember feeling I was speaking through panic attack. When it was my time to be the coach and ask the questions, I was speaking through a panic attack, and that's what helped me to recognize that nobody knows what a panic attack looks like. Nobody knows what anxiety looks like because it just looks like a normal person. I right now could be going through a panic attack and speaking. None of you would be the wiser.
This is so powerful,
Yeah.
realizing it. Yeah.
For me, that was very powerful. And I'm not entirely sure why, but at the same time, I am. It was my voice of telling me I am not enough. Even though everybody was telling me, everywhere I looked was telling me that I am great, I am awesome, but I still to this day doubt that. But I appreciate those doubts because those are the doubts that help me to push myself further and further and become better and better and better. Because if, and again, even if I did believe that I was completely 100% the best out there, like Tony Robbins, I, I still will be growing. It's just the kind of a person I am. But that fishbowl exercise, then I remember telling everyone, like, oh my God, like I was speaking through a panic attack. I couldn't even breathe. Everybody's response was, I had no idea. I would not be able to tell. You were just so composed. You spoke clearly and confidently. I'm like, oh, really? I thought I was going to have a heart attack. So
Yeah.
that was in module two. It was really powerful. And I guess the scariest part of that was because there was two other professionally trained IPAC graduates that were helper teachers and that were sitting there watching and observing everything and quite literally judging, but not actually judging, just watching the skills and seeing how we were showing up. That I think was the scariest part for me, being judged by an authority figure.
Yes, absolutely. Like they were assessing us, but absolutely the part of being judged and being told we were not good enough or that something was not right. Yeah. And the way I dealt with this is just, I don't know, my group might have been the bigger one because usually there was someone who was not participating. So the first time we did this one, everyone was eager to go. So I'm like, I'm staying in a corner and not doing anything. I'll just hide, and if you cannot see me, please. uh, this was so powerful, and like just going through the exercise where, especially where you need to continue what someone else has started. Uh, this was tricky. Like, I cannot get into the story and in your head, and like,
Yes.
uh,
And we got to see because every coach is different. So one client, one problem, so to speak, that they bring, one topic that they bring to the session, and each coach gets to ask. We were given the time.
time. Yeah.
I remember in the end, I asked because I was doing the closing, and we didn't even learn how to do the closing yet. So I'm just like, um, okay. I asked a couple of, and then I'm like, I'm done. That's it. We're done, right? And I can see one of the teachers in the back saying, keep going. And I'm like, and this is where my panic attack just became so much worse. I'm like, okay, so let's. It was just, I felt horrified. It's the way I would describe it is if I felt completely naked in front of everyone and everybody saw me failing. But that also allowed me to see that there's so much to failure that was actually the day that I realized that I wanted to fail more. I wanted to fail and fail and fail because that is the only way I will succeed. And it's scary. It's scary putting yourself out there.
It is scary. But what you were saying reminded me of something, like when you were saying how you were going through this panic attack. And I know we are all different, but at the same time, we do have our own common human tendencies. Um, and I was reading, just gonna finish reading a book. It's a marketing book, but called Contagious. And like one of the things he was saying is making the invisible visible, the private public. And one thing that they found out for college students was that when you ask them personally, they don't like drinking too much. They'd rather have like one drink or something, not 10. Mm. So they tried so many things, and the thing that actually helped to reduce the uh, amount students drank was reminding them that 70% of college students don't like over drinking. That it's actually, you're not alone. Uh, it, Everyone else doesn't like it either. So by you having only one drink, uh, it's not an exception. You are actually part of the bigger group, and by me having this kind of fears of speaking in front of people and going through the fishbowl exercise, I was not alone. But then, like you said, because we put this facade and it's so private and invisible, everyone is like, oh, you're so calm and collected and do so well. And inside we're all boiling and like need some kind of a stress reducing thing. But it's like uh, so interesting how we assume we want to be part of the group. We assume that, oh, everyone is doing so well, but on the inside we are all scared and all afraid of being judged.
Yeah.
So realizing this is kind of cool, and like being able to understand that what we show and how we show up doesn't really represent of who we are and what we feel inside.
No, no, no. Yeah. Okay, you have to be very quiet, okay, sweetie? Yeah. What did you eat? Raspberries. You ate all the raspberries? Yeah. Okay. Because there's marks on your mouth, red little marks. Okay, make sure you're quiet, okay, sweetie? Okay. I'll be as quiet as you can. When you were like expressing that there's something going on when the outside, like other people can't see the anxiety and the panic attack, the way I would describe it, it's a war. On the inside, it's a war happening between a bunch of different people, a bunch of different voices inside that we cannot even hear because muffled by the cannons that are going off towards each other. And then the body is kind of left. At least I was able to speak. I wasn't completely frozen. Flight. So I was fighting while the war was going on. And then you were talking, you mentioned when you're talking about the college students, when they actually 70% of them just want to have one drink, or they don't really want to drink and they're just drinking just to really fit in. That's what I hear, just to fit in, and at the same time perhaps maybe even numb their anxiety and numb their discomfort that they might be feeling on the inside, right? um, a word came to mind, something that, and I completely forgot about this word. I learned a word in high school because somebody called me that, and I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know this word. And then they explained it to me, and I'm like, ooh, I like this word. And the word is trendsetter.
Oh.
So the way that it was explained to me is that by you showing up as yourself, being honest, being authentic, people will follow. You are the leader. You lead the way. You don't care about anyone. Not in the way that, like, not in a mean way, but in the way that you don't take things personally. That people say. Oh, very nice. You just have to file them a little bit more. I did. Use a filer. I did. Okay. I can help you a little bit more after. Shh. They're home now. They're gonna be home until we all in Ontario got an alert. Can I show you something? Shh. Oh, good job. You're wearing underwear. I appreciate that. Yeah.
The small joys of life.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of parents can relate when they have boys.
Oh yeah.
Like the freedom. Yeah, we in Ontario got an alert that it is the law to stay home unless you are
need stuff like
need essentials
or medication.
Yeah. Oh, don't push on the chair, sweetie. The chair is like, I don't know how old this chair is now.
You had it for I was born.
I think I had this chair as a teenager.
Wow.
Wow, this
And
is.
you're 34.
Shh, don't tell people.
Hey.
It's not a state secret. So
Since we are sharing, I'm 33. So
I am older. You must listen to elders.
And
We can use it in my house, everybody must listen to me because I am the oldest. I am older by my husband
by 11 days.
by 11 days. Thank you, Mila. Taking the words out of my mouth.
Literally.
Yes.
I read them.
So, as you can tell, when children come in, they kind of hijack everything. Let me see what other questions I have. As we're wrapping up, I think I will just ask one more question. And the question is this. I know you've worked with quite a few clients, right? And few that I might not know of, nor do I really care to know, but what have you learned from them? What was the biggest thing that you have learned from your clients? Camila.
The biggest thing I've learned from my clients. I'll go back to the fact that we are all the same. Underneath, we're all human beings, and underneath, we all have these human desires. And no matter where you are in your career or in your life, even managers and executives have their doubts, have their voices, have the am I good enough? Who am I to be doing this, to be taking on this responsibility? So for me, this is the biggest one, and something that's with every single person I work, it comes up. The fears we have as human beings, the desire to be appreciated, to have some kind of value, to be loved, to be taken care of, and to show love and take care of others. These are things that we all have, and this is the beauty of working with different people and then getting to know them at a deeper level. And the other thing I would say that comes up is because of the powerful tools we have as IPAC graduates, is the way people love the awareness they get. It's something that it's like opens their eyes. They're like, wow, I've never thought about this. So this kind of new thinking and how they appreciate it, it's amazing. So yeah, these are the biggest things that kind of pop up for me. And it's again, it just shows that no matter who we are, like how we define ourselves based on our nationality, gender, hair color, whatever else we want to define ourselves, we are all human beings in the core. And this comes with the fears, it comes with the hopes and desires, it comes with all these things that the person in front of you is going through. So one thing I would say as we're wrapping up this thing, the next time you talk with someone, think about the human being in front of you. Remember that it's a human being standing in front of you or on the other side of the phone line. And just like you, this human being wants to have beautiful, safe life and be part of this magical world we are living in. So
Yeah, I love that. Seeing past the exterior, past what they look like, seeing and really feeling and understanding that each and every one of us has fears, no matter how they might appear on the outside. Again, think of back of that example that I shared with everyone in my fishbowl experience when everybody thought that I was confident and I spoke clearly and I knew what I was talking about. And even though the questions that were coming out of my mouth didn't even make sense to me. And I felt like I was dying on the inside. I like my heart was in my chest and in my stomach, and I was sweating profusely. I'm like, this was a hot one. I like how you said, look at the person that's in front of you. This is actually one of the in the beginning when we started talking, and when you were talking about fears, I actually wrote down, see the person in front of you, and I put it in quotations. That was like one of the thoughts that came to mind for me, and you said pretty much the same thing at the end of this conversation. Um, to me, it's evident that we are connected, that we can essentially read each other's minds, if you
Oh,
will.
yeah.
And I love that. Look at the person that's in front of you, see them. Most people will not open up and tell you about their deepest, darkest fears. Some people don't even understand, don't even know what they are. It's just a feeling that they have. So thank you. Thank you for reminding all of us to really see the person.
Thank you. Thank you for being such an amazing host today, Yana.
Oh, thank you. I try. Try. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot wait to have another one of these chats with you and share it with everyone.
Oh, I would love to.
Yes.
You know.
And thank you, everybody, for being here with us, listening. Love to hear from each and every one of you. And if you are wanting to connect with Anna, I will have her information down below. And feel free to have a chat with her, right?
Absolutely.
Until next time, bye, everybody, and thank you.